A very good evening to you. Thanks for joining us on the Thursday edition of the show. I'm Yemi Adebayo. It's a special day in the world of sports. A lot of things happening as we speak in the English Premier League, of course, Europa League and the UEFA Conference League as well. Matches currently going on, and of course, on the domestic scene, there's still a lot to talk about with regards to women's football, and of course, all the other things happening here in Nigeria, and we'll do our best to take you through all of the things happening to give you a good coverage of everything. Of course, in the news, the aftermath, the effect of what is going on between Russia and Ukraine, the effects of all of those things on sports as it relates to English Premier League club side Chelsea. We'll be doing all that for you as we go on. As usual, I'm not alone on the show. I have my tag team partner, Austin Okonakman, and he joins us as we take this trip together in the fast pace, money spinning, entertaining world of sports.
Sporty greetings to you, Yemi, and welcome back on the show. Of course, to our viewers joining us from different parts of the world, welcome on board. I'm Austin Okonakpa right here in London. So much conversation going on between Chelsea and this new decision by the UK government to freeze the assets of Ibrahimovic. It's even, the conversation, Yemi, is bigger than the Chelsea-Norwich City game that is going on. So Chelsea fans are really in the dark. They don't understand where this would take the club to. When Ibrahimovic said he was leaving, it was enough, worry for some fans. And now this is happening. There's no way it's not going to affect the club. Sponsors are already pulling out of their sponsorship deals with Chelsea. So these are really dark times. And it's all coming from this Russia-Ukraine conflict. And that's why I was saying that let love lead the way. People should come together, leave as one, and let's see ways that we can use sports, particularly football, to spread love around.
Especially if you want to make some people pay for what they're doing, it's going to affect other people who are probably not involved as directly as some others. And it's very hard separating the villains and the victims because you're going to have them in a mix. Everybody rolled in a bunch. And of course, you're there in the UK. I mean, you're already hearing the noise, the complaints, the fans, being locked out of shops, questions about season ticket holders. A lot of this happening. And we'll do our best to clarify what the ban covers, what it does not, what Chelsea is still able to do, and what they cannot do while the freeze is on. We're going to do that on the show. But also, I think is good. We start from home this evening to take a look at what is happening, because surely we're going to spend a lot of time talking about Chelsea. They're in the news because of the Russia-Ukraine conflict currently going on. But let's start with cricket. Because of what is happening right now, and also it gladdens our heart because it's the ladies. And of course, you has always been somebody who's been talking about the so-called lesser sports. So let's start the show off today talking about the Nigeria Cricket Federation approving 18 female players for the final phase of camping for the women's T20 Invitational Tournament. And, of course, is a good one. We've always talked about how cricket used to be a sport Nigeria used to do well in, especially a few years after independence. And you still have the structures in some schools. And, of course, the NCF trying to revive. I'm particularly thrilled, Austin, that it's the women that we're talking about.
Yeah, same here, and not just the women, they're trying to give it structure, get younger, women to get into cricket. And this is really heartwarming seeing these, ladies play cricket. And it's the T20I. It's going to take place from the 26th of March and run till the 3rd of April in Lagos. So Uyi Akpata and his new board, they are doing the things that he talked about. He talked about 360 degrees branding, not leaving any of the teams behind. He talked about taking cricket back to the grassroots, talked about empowering women cricket, and that's what we're seeing now. So it's good to know that they've called up 18 female players for the final phase of the campaign. And this is what we're talking about, get everyone involved. And I like it. I like this one because we've not really been talking much about women's cricket, and there's so much potential in women's cricket. It's massive right here in the United Kingdom. When you see women play cricket, you will be wowed, and in line with celebrating International Women's Day, we're saying break the bias. If we're talking about men and what they can do with cricket in Nigeria, it's just fine that we're doing the same thing with the ladies. So this is our list of the 18 players called up for the T20 Invitational Tournament that will take place in Lagos this month. Sunday Salome is in that list. Esther Sandy, Abigail Igwabi, Agatha Obulo, Asika Omoye, Blessing Frank, Oseyada Omobokoi, Lucky Piety, young cricket player. I think she's about 15 or 16 years old, and she's already doing big things with the cricket national team. I like that story about Lucky Piety. Queen Joseph is also in the mix, and Blessing Etim. We told you they're 18, so there's still some more. Taiwo Abdul Kadri, Peculiar Agboya, Lilian Ude, Favor Asiegbe, Rukaya Abdul Razak, Rachel Sampson, Mary Desmond, and Miracle Imimole completes the 18 female players that have been called up for campaign for the Nigeria Cricket Federation T20 invitation. And this is what we're talking about. We keep saying it here, that you don't need to go for the big competitions before you prepare a team. Get programs together, get invitations such as this to keep the team busy. And let's use tonight to say kudos to the Nigeria Cricket Federation for putting this together, for calling the girls to camp, and of course, even women's cricket's a voice in Nigeria.
Yeah, I was listening to a Yoruba elder yesterday talking about if you wanted to cut down a Iroko tree, if it takes 20 strikes and the Iroko tree gets down, it's not the 20th strike that brought the Iroko tree down. All the strikes up onto the 20th.
So it goes to three, right?
Yeah. So it means that all of these things, as we continue to do these things, we'll just get to a point we see ourselves on the level we want to be, because like you always say, we're doing the basics. We're doing the little things that are crucial, that are important, and I'm very happy we're doing that with the girls. I can only wish Uyakpata and his board all the luck, and hopefully preparation and opportunity will meet together and will turn out to be success for them. All right, let's move on now, Austin, and talk about football. But still, the ladies, they've been making us happy with some of the things we have been seeing. Nigeria Women's Professional Football League, our next port of call on the show tonight. Let's take a look at match day 10, and we'll look at results. We'll look at the table as it stands in Group A and in Group B. And don't forget our future game will be the game that a lot of things has been talked about. First, what happened today? Confluence Queens and Osun Babes ended goalless. That's the result. The match played today, Thursday, match day 10 result, all for you right there on the screen. The game in Group A, Confluence Queens and Osun Babes ending goalless. All right, let's take a look at the NWFL table after match day 10. Of course, some teams have played 8, some have played 9. But let's start with Group A, and you have right there on top, Edo Queens, followed closely by Nasarawa Amazons, Confluence Queens, Niger Raitels, Damawa Queens, Osun Babes, and Pelican Stars. Edo Queens sitting pretty with 20 points after 8 matches. That's it, Group B. Let's flip quickly and go to Group B. In Group B, where it's keenly contested and it's tough. Our feature game comes from Group B. In Group B, you have Vivas Angels, the lead after 9 matches. They have 19 points, goals difference of 11. Closely followed by FC Robo Queens. You have Baeso Queens in the mix. We have Delta Queens, of course, also followed by some of the other teams, Royal Queens, Abia Angels, and Sunshine Queens in that 7th position that you don't want to be, all right? So that's it. All right, so this is what it looks like. But let's talk about the much talked about game between two very strong sides in the Nigeria Women's Football League, Delta Queens and Bayelsa Queens. It was a fitting advertisement for women's football in Nigeria, Austin.
It was a good one, Yemi, and I think 2 days ago on the show with Cecilia, I was saying that 5 years ago, this is probably the game that would decide the league champion, because Delta Queens and Bayelsa Queens, they go way back, in terms of rivalry in Nigeria, the Nigerian Women's Football League. And as expected, we saw goals, we saw beautiful football, and this is what we talk about that can develop women's football in the country. Look, anytime, any day, whenever these ladies come out to play, it's fun filled, it's entertaining. We don't get to hear all of the shenanigans that we hear from the men's league. They just come out there, play good football. You hardly hear about officiating being an issue, or hooliganism, or even the players themselves, not playing the sort of football that we need. So a lot is going on in the league, and this result did a lot to also that group B, group B table, yeah. If you see Bayelsa Queens, not the sort of performance that they are expecting this season, but it is what it is. It's women's football where if you blink, you ask questions. But I love the goals, particularly this one, Yemi.
Yeah, I do. I love the jerseys as well. Look good on the eye. All right, let's take some reactions from the two teams, Delta Queens and Bayelsa Queens. We'll come back for more. What's possible?
They played well, they gave their best. They had so many chances which they couldn't convert. It happens in football. Sometimes not all the chances you convert.
We had that confidence that when you score one, we are going to retaliate and even score the second one. With our own pattern in which we used to play is up, but our coaches now taught us how to keep it on the ground and play. Equally, the opponent knows how to knock the ball on the ground. So that was the same thing though. So we are matching ourselves man to man, and the same pattern we are still playing.
Good for female football in Nigeria, because we are trying to get the champion that will represent Nigeria in the CAF Champions League, African Cup Women's Champions League. So we need to, it's good, the competition, the competitiveness is good. So I don't have problem with that. The officiating was very, very poor. In Bayelsa, they had fair officiating. We should allow the players to play so that the person will represent Nigeria. In Bayelsa, the game was open, they scored first, there was no problem. But here it's like the referee almost played for them. I don't want to complain about referee too much. But since my 40th years in football, I've never seen this kind of officiating. We should allow the best teams to win.
We had every opportunity to win. Though the referee was a little bit biased. But we thank God, at least we got a draw, not a loss.
All right. And obviously displeased.
Just when I talked about, I was just commending the women's league that we don't get to hear much about officiating, and I said, wait a minute, Austin. But you could tell that Bayelsa Queens needed so much from that game. Yeah. They didn't come to play for a draw, but Delta Queens aren't any pushover in women's football in the country. So it's expected, and sometimes, it is when this result doesn't go.
Yeah, exactly. When things don't go your way, these issues do come up. Very obviously displeased Bayelsa United team. You listen to Domo Caro and Migbe Abidemi speaking their minds there. And just like Austin hinted earlier, of course, the two teams know how important this game is, because it might just be a decider. Both teams want to be on the continent, so they know how important this game is. Bayelsa Queens took the lead twice. Delta Queens had to draw level on those two occasions. For the guys from Bayelsa, they feel hard done as far as they are concerned, and they try to remind Austin, just when Austin said officiating was okay. Yeah. Just put a fast one.
They gave away the lead, so they should go back and check, what they didn't do right, and you can tell that there was bad blood from the first leg.
Yeah.
So they needed, to play the sort of match that will make them forget that's, first leg. But Delta Queens, and all of the pedigree that they command in the league, they also don't like where they are on the table. So it made it a good game. 2-2. That's a good one for women's football in Nigeria. Loads of goals, except that Bayelsa Queens thought the referee almost scored one for Delta Queens, but it's okay.
It's okay. All right. So interesting times in Nigerian women's football. All right, Austin, let's address the elephant in the room: Russia-Ukraine conflict. Engulfing sports, really. There are a lot of things. I read some comments from Daniil Medvedev tonight. I felt sorry for him. Daniil Medvedev is saying, I hope they will allow me compete on the ATP tour because he knows what is coming next. I feel sorry because a lot of people are getting caught in the web of all that is happening. But let's start everything. Is happening in your head. Let's start with everything that has happened to the Chelsea. I think he had a premonition of this. He knew that this was going to happen, trying to put a club up for sale. That didn't work. Then he got hit with his sanctions.
When he first announced that he was giving up the ownership of Chelsea Football Club and transferring, whatever monies that get out of the sale into the foundation, I said on the show, that more will come, because it is what it is. He's Russian and he commands a lot of influence and he owns Chelsea 100%. So the UK government, they know what we don't know. They won't just come out and decide to freeze his assets and put travel ban on Abramovich and all other sanctions that we're seeing. And you're right to say it all stems from this Russia-Ukraine conflict. And that's why I was saying everybody should come together and give peace a chance in this. If we can have a chance to take a look at the Chelsea statement, you could tell that Chelsea, they were even very careful with what they were saying, just so they don't make it worse for themselves. But that's what it is. The UK government, these are the sanctions they've placed on Chelsea Football Club of England. They said they will continue the things they can do. Yep. They can continue to play matches. We'll see that tonight. They're playing against Norwich City. They will receive their broadcast money. Season ticket holders. This is why clubs always tell fans, if to be a season ticket holder, it's better. Season ticket holders will attend games, but you just can't buy tickets on a match day or the match day and then go to the stadium. That won't happen again, and I'm sure that would affect the revenue of Chelsea Football Club. They cannot buy new players. They cannot agree new contracts. They cannot sell new tickets for games. The club, Chelsea, cannot sell shop merchandise. Club shop merchandise, they cannot sell. They can't sell the club also unless Abramovich allows the UK government to take control of the process and he receives no process from the sale. How else can you define tough for me? Just try to define tough.
It doesn't get harder than this. Before all of this happened, we'll be reading everywhere about how, I don't want to bring politics into sports, but it's related. That's why I'm saying it. How this man in the eye of the storm, Roman Abramovich, is being asked to mediate in what is happening between Ukraine and Russia and some of the steps that allegedly that he took in trying to. But this has come. This was always going to come as long as the conflict continues. NATO, the allies, the US will, do things like this. And unfortunately for us, we're talking about all of this, not because we want to, but because of its incursion into the world of sports. And now some funny guys on Twitter have already started telling Chelsea fans to enjoy it while it lasts, because, of course, if Roman is not in the picture anymore, you know that.
We know the story. What was Chelsea for 50 years until Roman came into the picture? They were just an ordinary club. Until Roman came, they became a superpower club. And then people started using the phrase that money can play football. I saw the statement from Chelsea Football Club 3 paragraphs, yeah, me. The first 2 paragraphs, lengthy. The third one, just very short. You know what? We'll go on this quick break. When we come back, I'll read that Chelsea statement, and you'll see how careful they are, just so they don't take this issue from bad to worse. Don't go anywhere. Stay. Welcome back to Sports Tonight on Channels Television. We are talking about the current sanctions that the UK government just placed on Chelsea Football Club. You know why? Because of their owner, Roman Abramovich. And before we went on that break, I told you that it's pretty long first 2 paragraphs from the statement that Chelsea Football Club released. I'll just read, Yemi, for the Chelsea fans to understand where the club is coming from and their understanding of these sanctions that have been placed on Chelsea Football Club. It says, by virtue of Abramovich's 100% ownership of Chelsea Football Club and affiliated entities, Chelsea FC would normally be subject to the same sanction regime as Mr. Abramovich. However, the UK government has issued a general license that permits Chelsea FC to continue certain activities, like the game they're playing tonight. And by the way, they're not doing badly at Norwich City. Chalobah, I think in the 3rd minute, gave Chelsea the lead in that one. We'll give our viewers more update. Chelsea Football Club went on to say, we'll fulfill our men's and women's team fixtures today against Norwich and West Ham, respectively, and intend to engage in discussions with the UK government regarding the scope of the license. I mean, the scope. They need to understand what this license covers. We've tried to break it down with the can and cannot that Chelsea is subjected to. This will include seeking permission for the license to be amended in order to allow the club to operate as normal as possible. Chelsea will also be seeking guidance from the UK government on the impact of these measures on the Chelsea Foundation. Remember, Abramovich said that's where the money will be going to. He said they are saying now that they need to know if that will also be affected. And it's important, and Chelsea's important work in the communities. That short paragraph that I told you about, the third one, says the club will update further when it is appropriate to do so. I mean, they will not talk or say anything that will put them into more troubles, because as it is, I worry for Chelsea. I don't know about you.
I do as well, and it's good. We're not going to be having this conversation alone. Bolu Money just stepped in, so let me bring him straight into all that we're doing. And so, Bolu, I don't know who should be welcoming who, but Bolu, greetings to you. Thanks for finding out time to be with us, and it's a good time to be here. We're talking about Chelsea and the sanctions on the club, of course, being linked with Roman Abramovich. I mean, your take on everything.
Well, first off, good to be here again and good to see your face again. And remember, Abramovich has been involved in one or two things with the UK government before now, I think since 2018. Now, it was, his visit to UK became limited. I think he can't spend more than 3 months or thereabouts, despite still having properties. I think there's been the handwritten on the wall for a while. Then when these Russian invasion problems, everything came, my take has been everyone involved, every Russian outside Russia would be in trouble. Then the close associates to Putin are probably in more trouble. And like what Austin said earlier before the break about, for the UK government to be going this way, they know what we don't know. I've had many debates, many arguments with many people. I think it looks like there are many irregularities in many things surrounding Chelsea. When Abramovich said, well, when they make sales, they'll give a certain amount to those involved in Ukraine, I say, well, that's just being political. They're just trying to be politically smart and all. But I worry for Chelsea as a football club. But in the end, whatever happens, I think the club will continue to run. But looking at how much was Chelsea bought by Abramovich, how much is the debt the club are holding him that he said, okay, well, he let go, how much is the club worth? It feels like the numbers are irregular, from low numbers to high numbers. We don't know what the truth is, but one thing is certain. I agree 1,000% with Austin. If the UK government are coming at you for some reason, they probably know what we don't know. They are seeing something. I believe everyone involved in anything, every Russian, including their athletes outside the country, would definitely suffer one or two things. You were talking about Medvedev as well. Every Russian athlete, even I worry for their safety. Because look at when people were saying they shouldn't cancel the game, Russia, Poland. I said to myself, Poland are taking in Ukrainians, and you expect Russia to go there and play away match. Even the players are not safe. So I think it's a bad time for many people involved in sports or anything. It's unfortunate Chelsea fans are the ones in this kind of situation. I've read so many things from them. They may lose much more than Abramovich when all this is over. Marina is talking about leaving. Czech is talking about leaving. We heard some of the kitchen staff are not working anymore. The players can't sign new contracts. It means they will likely lose Aspilicueta, lose Rudiger, and many players like that. It's unfortunate, but again, let's hope all this gets sorted out ASAP, so we won't have to be thinking about the negatives instead of the positives.
All right, it's hard to look away from the negatives. Also, let's continue with this discussion. It's already hitting hard. You were talking about, season ticket holders and all that. But also, I'm very sure you want to take us through what's happening in the UK Parliament, the Secretary of State, who has sports under our portfolio, also has some things to say about all of the things involving Chelsea.
Yeah, but a lot of people have been talking, So let's just listen. Let's listen to her, and then we'll come back. We'll talk some more.
Look, I'm going to get into the weeds of what will happen in the future in terms of the sale of Chelsea. That will depend on the terms of a licence, which will be issued by the Treasury. But at the moment, he cannot benefit from revenue from the club, and he cannot benefit from the sale of the club. Abramovich has links to Putin, who is mounting a barbaric and evil attack against the people of Ukraine. This government, we in this department, stand with the people of Ukraine. And as I've said, I'm afraid sanctions have consequences. Abramovich's actions have consequences too. So our focus here is to ensure that we applied for a licence in order to protect the game, the club and its fans. And so that's what we've done here. Roman Abramovich cannot benefit from the club, but it is important to note that fans can still, who have existing tickets and existing season ticket holders, can still go to matches. The match will still go ahead on Sunday. They can still go to the away matches. Those working at the club will still be paid, and players can still play. Because if it sells tickets and it sells merchandise, Abramovich, who owns the club, will benefit. That can't happen. Our focus was on protecting the club and the national game and the fans. That was our focus, and we think we've done that by the licence measures that we've put in place. In order to sanction someone, you have to have the evidence to do so. I know that the Foreign Office has been working very hard to gather that evidence together.
So that's the British Minister for Sports and Culture, Nadine, right there. And Bolu, you can tell she's strong about it. Confirms what I said, that there's more to come. She said it clearly. It has to be with the ties with Russia, and they're very particular that he cannot benefit from the sale of Chelsea Football Club.
Well, that's what it looks like, putting the plug off everything Russia, because she said if they allow the sale go on, it means he's still making money. They don't want him to make any money at all from their land, and they put measures in place for the fans to still enjoy their games, especially the season ticket holders and everyone. But again, it's still, no matter how you look at it, it's definitely going to be bad for Roman Abramovich. Every angle, every side you look at, it's negative for him. And one way or the other, negative for Abramovich still goes down to Russia. But the question is, are the Russians being moved by all these things? Is Vladimir Putin being moved by all these things? Because everything is supposed to make them have a change of heart. Obviously, Roman Abramovich, there's no way you put it, he will lose a lot. Even if he ends up owning the club maybe by next year or whatever, he is still going to lose a lot. So, and some persons are even asking, how much is Chelsea worth? Instead of spending about £3 billion to buy Chelsea, why not buy a team like maybe West Ham for maybe about 500 million and invest £1 billion in it and make them look like Chelsea? So even without the seizure and everything, he may not even sell it for a preferred figure. So no matter how you look at it, it's a lose-lose situation for him. And remember, even his house, about £150 million, is still there somewhere. So I think Chelsea have to find a way to let go of this thing. Put emotion aside, because the more you keep thinking about the emotional affiliation as a fan or as whatever, you keep losing. They've made their decisions. Nobody is bigger than the rule of law in the country. And the rule of law, you may not like it, you may not want it, but if they say this is how we want to run our thing, you have to follow suit or you lose. And this time around, Abramovich is the one losing.
I mean, Laws are laws, and the British government, they're in charge of the country. I mean, so I've been having this discussion with some Chelsea fans today, and they talk about the European Super League when it came out and then died a premature death. We were saying, who owns football? And that conversation said it was the fans. With what is happening with Chelsea now, who owns football? Let's listen to the fans. They are in the dark. What's the future of Chelsea with all of these sanctions that have been placed on the club and Roman Abramovich?
Shock. Still trying to process it all. Like, when you really look at it on paper, it's not the worst, but it definitely bites you. Like, I'm on my way to Norwich now. This is going to be my last away day till the end of the season. Thankfully, still got a season ticket, so we can do home games at least, but we're still going to be hurt with the fact that it's only 25,000.
It's not like any of the other big clubs where you see them. Obviously, Chelsea are more of all the big clubs are sort of franchises now, but he's not. It's different with Chelsea. It's different with Roman because he is. You feel like you love him. The amount of money he invests, and he really seems like he loves the club. In his leaving statement, he put, "Oh, I want to come back to the bridge, say goodbye to all the fans." And you do sort of believe him, but it probably is all just a lie pumped out by some media team of his to, I don't know, to make him look good.
Could be, because obviously look at Rudiger, Christensen, Aspilicueta. They can't sign new contracts. We haven't got many defenders. We have got many defenders, but we're not. Come next season, we're not going to be backed up in the defence. So come next season, we might be struggling if the sanctions don't lift and all that. So hopefully, it all ends and we get new contracts in for him.
This was our actual dream vacation. So we had our stadium tour just 2 days ago, and we bought all these merchandise, and I always love visiting the stadium, and it was a nice and sunny, beautiful day. We went to the museum, we went to the store, but we never expected this to happen so early and not during our tour. Now we get to see, the sad part. So this situation is very complicated for us right now. The fans don't know what to do.
Yeah, the fans don't know what to do, and they actually can't do much. You listen to the first guy, he say he has to be careful, what he's saying. It's tough for them, but hopefully football will win. That's just what I hope.
Yeah, the future looks very bleak. It has to be said. I agree with everything Bolu has said. It's going to hit Roman more, but the fans will be severely hit as well. And he talked about, I'm sitting close to him, and he talked about not being emotional. I mean, we are all emotional. We are football fans. It's even those of us who say we are journalists in front of the screen, we try not to be emotional, but off the screen we are. And I pity the Chelsea fans. I mean, I've read a lot on Twitter, and some are beginning to think of Chelsea before 2004. Yep. And a lot of them dread to see Chelsea like he was before. Because if you take Roman out of the equation, that's what you're going to get. That's what you're going to get. But of course, let's not dwell on that too much. In the days to come, who knows what can happen? Like they said, there could be an Hail Mary. Who knows? Anything could happen. Let's take a look at the results now. In the English Premier League, Austin told us a couple of games currently going on. Chelsea not doing badly, leading Norwich by 2 goals. Southampton and Newcastle is 1 goal apiece. Wolverhampton Wanderers hammering Watford. That game, about 48 minutes played in that game. And Leeds United, new manager, same problem, trailing Aston Villa by a goal. But let me get your thoughts before we go back to Austin. Is it tough? You're probably hearing things we're not. But the results on your screen.
For Chelsea, I was thinking the struggle will be there, but they are not feeling anything at all. Like Austin Riley said, the first goal came very early. Chalobah, Mason Mount got the assist, then he got the second goal for the Blues. And I think they, at least to a level for now, they're enjoying the game on the field, and I'm sure they will want to do that all through till the end of the season. They say have their fans today, but the interesting thing is going away. For their fans to get ticket, they probably have to register as away fans. Let's assume they want to play United at Old Trafford. There will be no away ticket for it, so they have to go and register through Man United. Then the away team can decide to sell to you or not sell to you. And for Aston Villa, it feels like Stevie G brought out the best Coutinho we've not had in a very long time. He still got the goal for them. And the Wolverhampton Wanderers, who lost the last round, now they are winning well. You have to worry for some teams. You can say Norwich are the ones Chelsea are beating, but I tell people you beat who is, you play who is in front of you, irrespective of whoever you are playing. And good results so far. Newcastle, I think it's safe to say Newcastle are safe because the way they are going away, home, wherever, they are getting the results. Yeah, still half time. I think second half just started, but they are doing so well. So far, so good. Good results in the Premier League. Leeds losing 1-0. Wolverhampton 3-0 second half. Newcastle 1-1 away to Southampton. And Chelsea comfortable 2-0 lead over Norwich away from home.
All right, that's it in the English Premier League. Let me quickly go back to Austin. This, you know, I want to try and lighten the mood somewhat if I can. Some jokers on Twitter are already saying maybe Manchester United should go for Thomas Tuchel because he's probably going to get the kind of assurances he wouldn't get with the Chelsea situation now. So does that look like what's going to begin to happen now? Everybody looking to benefit from the situation, especially if it continues like this till the end of the season.
It is what it is. I mean, when it's going bad for one man, another man tries to see good in that. So definitely, not just Thomas Tuchel. Chelsea will lose a lot of players. I'm sure, you know, agents are already doing their job now to say, look, you can't stay, you know, in a club where the future is bleak. You can't stay in a club where stability is not ensured. So they will lose players also. And for clubs such as Arsenal, my friends in the UK, they are telling Chelsea fans, become ordinary now. Let's see who can play football, you know, because now they're saying that there's no money again to enhance Chelsea. So let's see what Chelsea can do with the administration. But I'm sure, you know, at the other side of all of this is mental health. So we should consider the guys who work for Chelsea. We should consider the players. We should consider
and their families as
the
well.
Technical crew, their families. I mean, very, very important, you know, because we've only mentioned the fans and probably Abramovich and people in the board. No, this with one way or the other touch anyone connected with Chelsea, whether you do business with Chelsea by just selling popcorn and ice cream in front of Stamford Bridge. This will definitely affect, you know, everyone down to the micro level. So let's just show love and just hope that the best happens to Chelsea. But football fans will be football fans. They'll throw the banters, they'll get emotional with this, that. But let's just know that with fair play, let's have fair play at the back of our minds.
All right, Austin, we're about to go, less than a minute. But again, we have to go back to the Russia-Ukraine conflict. That's where we're going to land it on the show. It's going to be our party shot. But Ukrainian athletes, Paralympians, and officials appealing for peace. And that's the picture you have right on your screen. I mean, what a picture. What a picture. This guy's calling for peace. I hope the key actors will just look at these guys and just let peace reign.
And it's not just for Ukraine. They're saying peace for all, for everyone, for the world, you know. Let's make this world a better place, you know. That's just right there, peace for all. So hopefully authorities in Russia and Ukraine will come together, let reason prevail, and make the world a better place.
All right, Bolu, chip in something before we go.
Well, first off, Newcastle are leading now against Southampton. But in all, peace is the most important thing. When there's robbery in the house next door, you won't be sleeping at ease because you'll be thinking, hope I won't be next. So you can say Ukraine is not Nigeria, but the truth is you will know someone that knows someone that knows someone that is involved. So they are not saying, like you said, peace for me, peace for us. No, peace for everyone. So hopefully at the end of all this drama, everyone will live a peaceful life.
All right, that's the hope that we have, that, of course, the key actors can sheath their swords, and, of course, we can have peace as we go on. Bolu Omoni, I want to thank you for your time on the show today. Hopefully, we get to do this some other time. All right, so that's the show today. We do hope that you've enjoyed everything we've been able to bring to you. We're back here again tomorrow. Take you on a trip across the money-spinning world of sports. I'm Yemi Adebayo. Bye-bye now.
Fun doing this with us. Let's do it again tomorrow. Till then, in London, I'm Austin Okonakpan. In everything you do, remember to keep talking sports. Bye for now.